Welcome, Board Game Soloists, to another episode of Top Solo Games. I'm J. Allen Riker, horror author, and solo board game fanatic. And today we are unboxing my basic pledge of Cthulhu Death May Die, Fear of the Unknown, which included the Unknowable box. So this has come on. You know there's a lot here. I don't know how to open it in a timely, speedy manner. You know that I go slowly and I talk a lot, and I also try to show you all everything. Today I might try to go a little bit faster per unit shown, just because otherwise I don't know how long this video will end up being. Unlike Marvel United, I don't know who all these characters are at a glance, so we'll have to see. Anyway, this is not making the video any shorter, so let's get started. We'll start out with the base game. Now, I did not have the Kickstarter of Cthulhu Death May Die. I was not into Command Games at that point, so I only have the standard retail of Season 1. I enjoyed it a lot, and decided that I enjoyed it enough. I want to add more of that modular goodness. You know that modularity gets me. All of those different combinations and providing far more variety than a person could experience in a lifetime always gets me. It's a very nice box. I think I'm going to put it on the shelves that I have in my front room. Now that I have enough to fill an entire cubby. What will I do when the next Cthulhu Death May Die shows up on my doorstep? Because I did back it. I've been backing almost nothing, but I did back that. Well, I guess I'll figure it out then. Okay, so here we have the rule book. I'm not going to really flip through this. Let me see in general what it looks like. Got all of your components. I could use this as a guide. So you've got 10 investigators, 2 elder ones, 6 episodes. You've got your 10 cultists, which is great when you're playing cultist-themed games. I use them for... I'm trying to remember what the name of that game is. It's a really cheap little miniature skirmish game where you're making your own cult. And then you've got, I can't remember, then you've got 18 monsters. Okay, so let's take a look at the 10 in-box investigators. That is one thing that you get a lot of with Cthulhu Death May Die crowdfunding campaigns is investigators. Now, some people don't like this. I don't mind because it's so hard to find contemporary minis to use in games. And these aren't fully contemporary, you know, they're more likely from the 1920s and 30s, but at that point, it gets kind of difficult to tell on at least some of them that they're old-timey, I guess. So we have Julian, that little kid, Silent Witness, Stealth, Arcane Mastery. We have Mike, the Strong Man, Proficient, Brawling, and Toughness. Leon, see, that could be a character from contemporary times. That could be a modern crime. Show Off, Marksman, Swiftness. Ruth, turns out even Eldritch horrors don't check every shadow. Sly, Stealth, Swiftness. Looks like maybe that's either a detective or possibly a journalist. Hui Kong, looks like a kung fu monk. self-defense, swiftness, and toughness. Sally. So that is definitely a photographer, like a military reporter, journalist. Photographer, arcane mastery, toughness. Stella, a scientist. Chemical explosives, arcane mastery, marksman. Sandra, archaeologist or treasure hunter of some sort. Relic seeker, brawling, arcane mastery. Agatha looks like she is in the mob. So the Tommy gun, that puts it at a more specific time. Killer instinct, marksman, stealth. Peters, the surgeon. So this looks like a bone saw. Surgeon, brawling, swiftness. Okay, so this is, this is a standalone version of Cthulhu Death May Die. So you're going to have redundant stuff if you already have previous sets. So here, this is monster, place to set them, I think. Staging area, maybe. This is a way to set up your whole monster board with the elder ones and the episode. So that's the mix and match aspect. Then you move them closer and closer as things happen in the game until they enter the mortal realm and start doing damage to you. These tiles are cool. I really like them. I almost wish that they were gridded so that I could use them. And I know I could use like a ruler. Maybe one day I will do that. But for my miniature skirmish games, I pretty much just always play on stuff that's gridded. Like this. Okay, so I would say that these tiles are decent on decent cardboard. It's definitely not the heaviest. It's a good thickness. I like the thickness of the cardboard, but it's not that dense. It's a little bit, it's light. So you've got your different rooms. The arrows show how things connect. And in this game, it's not like a random setup. Like you set up a map at the beginning. So far, I haven't had one where I couldn't fit it on my table, but it is definitely something that I might have to deal with in the future. Maybe, I guess I could skip those missions, which is sad because, you only have, it's not like you have a whole book full of them. Anyway, it hasn't happened yet, so I shouldn't get sad preemptively. So these look like rooms and maybe some kind of, this looks like it's in a barn attached to a castle or something. Old. An underground, winding cavern. It's very cool. Try to evoke that eldritch, sinister feel. I think the perspective helps with that. It makes things distorted and a little weird. You see what I'm saying? There's some rules tiles for the different abilities. Fire tokens. Seems like stuff's getting set on fire a lot. Oh, this is like a dungeon, prison. Hospital. And of course, health tokens. I've got a bag just absolutely full of health tokens from all sorts of different games. And then I've got a second bag, even more full of them, up in a storage thing. I don't know why I feel compelled to keep them, but I do. Okay. Let's check out this little... Move the nearest monster 1 space towards you. Move the nearest monster 2 spaces towards you. The monsters in Cthulhu Death May Die are a lot more stationary than I think somewhat comparable game of Zombicide, where the zombies are constantly chasing you. It looks like that controls some movement behavior. Okay, here we have a stack of relics. Gotta have a very sharp knife to not gouge the cards. And I definitely prefer my cards ungouged. Okay, Relic Sinister Book. Once per turn, when making any roll, you may count any number of those stars as both one success and a tentacle. Jade Amulet. Replica Blade. You gain a die when attacking a target in your space. Rune Carved Spear, Shiny Jewel, Ancient Idol, Lucky Coin, Mysterious Key, Ritual Mask. So these relics are new to the game, I believe. I think I remember that from the campaign. They're new, and also I don't remember them in at least the Season 1 core box. So here are some patient medical files. So I believe that these are new types of insanity, which is something that your characters have that is usually both a blessing and a curse as they get more stressed out. They have a mental illness that will manifest, and sometimes it will help you out of a situation. Sometimes it will harm you, and a lot of times it's situation, like context dependent. Like you might not want it to pop off if you have your other players in the room because maybe you do damage to everything in the room. So here we have Megalomania, Traveling Fugue. You must move to a space that is 2 spaces away from your current space if possible. Enemies follow. Overcaring, Autophobia, Compulsive Accumulating, Impulsive Aggression, Hallucinations, Bloodlust. So here are your monster cards for your more basic monsters. It's been a minute since I played Cthulhu Death May Die, so unfortunately I may not be able to explain everything correctly, or hopefully I realize that when it's the case instead of saying things are straight up wrong, but I definitely have done that. Usually, oftentimes when I'm unboxing something I've never played before at all, I will just make random guesses about what stuff does, and I'm wrong about 80% of the time. Okay, here's a Ghast. If attacked but not destroyed, the attacker takes 1 move. Serpent Man. When it attacks, each failure symbol kind of also counts as a success. Gug. I'm not going to try to pronounce all these. So you see, it's all these creepy monsters. The Fisher from Outside. Dole. They do, I guess, a good job of trying to make physical something where the real horror of it comes from more of a lack of knowledge. And so they make all the monsters very creepy, but one thing is that they're not very distinctive, they don't stick in my brain. Maybe they do in yours, I don't know. But so here's a Zazoth. Thing is, there are any number of these that look almost just like this, just a mass of tentacles and mouths, right? And I understand you don't want to just put in a fantasy monster because it doesn't have the feel, but it does make me say, well, I don't necessarily need a different mini for each one of these. You could just give me the information. Okay, so the minions. So here are the different stages of Zazoth. I'm not going to open these because we are trying to keep this fast moving, and I figure, hey, I'll show you the minis. You know, with my retail box of the first season, I tossed these boxes away because they were taking up more space than I wanted, and I may do that again. I don't like these little flimsy tuck boxes like as permanent storage anyway. Okay, so yeah, there it is. A writhing mass of tentacles with a mouth, I guess. It's cool. And then it has specific little minions that you get when you play just with it. They look kind of like musicians. It looks like they're playing horns. I'm sure something that causes madness, as is so common in all H.P. Lovecraft stories and games about his set in his mythos. Pretty cool. I actually really like that. This is a game that like I said, I am not bothered by getting more humans, because if you ask me which minis I like, it is the little, and I mean, it's funny because I guess they're, a lot more common and more mundane. But for me, I like the minis of the humans the best. Couldn't remember if these had descriptions on them. And it does not. Okay, here's Sathogua. It's like a giant toad, winged toad creature, kind of. A lot of people like Lovecraft for his monsters, and I think if it was just the monsters, that he would be no more remembered than any writer of his era. It's the type of horror that he at least played a part in creating, along with maybe a writer or two over in the UK, of that cosmic horror of really it's about these unknowable things that can just crush you in their passing, Minions. So here's his stage cards, and here's some behavior cards for him and his minions. Of course, you gotta have specific tokens. Tokens. It doesn't bother me so much with these because you store them separated off from each other, so it should not cut towards yourself. Do as I say, not as I do. Luckily, the average age of viewers for this channel are people who have known better for several decades than to cut something like that. Okay. Pretty gruesome looking guy. I like that texture a lot. Okay, and here are some of his special minions, which are, it looks like just piles of slime. Let's see if they have a amorphous scion. So it's either slime or gaseous, or who knows. Fully liquid. Okay, so the episodes that we have here are Top of the Morning, Isle of the Damned, Deliver Us from Evil, By Request of the Queen, Festival of Death, and Die Schon en die Beest. I wonder what. Does that mean Beauty and the Beast? A beautiful Bavarian castle, haunted of course, a jealous husband and unfaithful wife, murdered, death, strange noises from the caverns below. A woman in white stalks the halls in silent steps. It's a mystery wrapped within an enigma. Your allies will be vital to your success or key to your failure. We get some meat tokens, and it looks like Long Pig, Discovery cards, Monster cards, Mythos cards, Episode card. The Huge. The art on these is really nice. I love the old painted, like oil painting style. I have so many sources of light. I'm trying to keep it from glaring. Top of the Morning. Kilkenny was the site of one of the first witch trials in Western history, and one of the few to find actual witches. Now, though, cultists are using ancient energies to power their rituals. As a side effect, the spirits of the old witches have risen. Petronilla de Meath, unjustly accused, and the witch Alice Kyteler, who got her condemned, are battling through their ancient feud anew. Only proving Petronilla's innocence will finally lay her spirit to rest, taking Alice along with her. Monster card, Discovery cards, Mythos card, Juror, Guilty, Innocent, Zone tags, Episode card. We'll just open one of these so that if you haven't ever played Cthulhu Death May Die, you can get a sneak peek, get an idea. Okay, so here we have some custom tokens just for this episode. And here is the layout. Looks manageable on my table. We have the town square, the pub. Most of these are all identified by a little number so that you can fish them out. Top of the Morning monsters. You've got the Ghast and the Unnameable. A writhing mass of tentacles. This is why I don't feel like we need that many new different monsters. I mean, I know they've got different specs and whatnot, but move the Ghast, nearest Ghast 2 spaces towards you, then move one juror 1 space away from the town square, move the Unnameable and each Ghast 1 space towards you. Yeah, so you can see this is each cultist moves 1 space towards the town square, then summon 1 Ghast at the nearest space with a juror. Each investigator in a space with a juror takes 1 wound. Then each investigator loses 1 sanity for each hex condition they have. Okay. I don't want to go through all these first because it probably won't be that interesting, but also, like discovering what the events are is a lot of the fun of playing an episode for the first time. Okay, so let's take a look at these minis. Here we go, folks. The whole reason that we drop big bucks on big games on crowdfunding, right? I do not like unsupported vac form plastic at all. I do not view it as a way to permanently store things. This game is difficult because of how deep these boxes are to be able to store all of these minis on one level, field. Okay, so we have the rings to color code your player characters. We've got the tokens to track things on the player boards. They're little tentacles. Got the custom dice. Let's take a look at some of these guys. Okay, so this writhing mass of tentacles does have a humanoid figure at the center of it. It's like a pterodactyl type creature but with only one eye, which I don't think would be good for flying. I think that you want binocular vision. Serpent Man. I really like this figure. I could see using this elsewhere. So those are. Okay, here we have the cultists and the player characters. Let's look at the rest of the monsters before we get to the humans. Okay, so here's a ghast. It's a creepy little dude. Oh, this guy broke one of these tentacles. I think. Actually, I'm not sure if it's a tail. Maybe. Anyway, no big deal. I don't really care. This guy was once humanoid, probably, but then got some tentacles. I like this. Look at that. Tooth-lined maw. I like this guy too. This looks like the sandworm from Beetlejuice. I noticed his almost smiling expression, or like Little Shop of Horrors. Very nice. Okay, let's take a look at the people, though. Power to the people. So we've got 3 different types of cultist. Dagger and Unholy Book. I'm telling you, like, what is that game? It's one that's, like, the creator's been Verwood. Is it Verwood? Yeah. He's been, the creator's been active. It's like a staff. In supporting that game. About to do a sacrifice. And it's a fun little skirmish game, and I like the weirdness of it. Okay. So that is it for the main core box. Unsupported vac form plastic, the bane of my board gaming existence. It's just squishing in my hands. Now, there have been a few games where it had a very sturdy vac form, which I was okay with, but there's that type of vac form that's like a solid plastic, and then there's the kind that is like this crinkly. But sometimes there's a variant of it that's a little sturdier, and that has its place, I guess. In a permanent situation. I guess all of it has its place, but mostly it's for shipping. To me. And I know this is why people tune in. All right, let's do the unknowable box. So this had something kind of heavy set on it at some point. Okay, so we have Lost Episode 4, 5, 6, and 7. Some investigators in this box have special tokens and components limited to the number available in the box. The unique skills explain how they are utilized. Some skill clarifications. New relic clarifications, lost episode clarifications, unknown monsters clarifications. Yeah, now we've got a big old stack of investigator dashboards. Oh shoot, I didn't show you the investigators. I only showed you the cultists. Well, too late now. We'll look at these investigators for sure. Okay, first we're going to look at Nug and Yeb. Okay, first I'm going to take these out. So we've got... Oh, that's a cute little bad little monster. All zoos in the same space attack as a single enemy. Headless Horseman's Skull relic. Jack-o'-lantern relic. Anita's command spell. Okay. We have a slaughter track. Brutal. Some meditation tokens. Music tokens. Eldritch tomes. Okay, like I didn't have the Unspeakable box. This is interesting to me. I knew that they call these lost episodes, and so they are different. Like, you see how big these are instead of the other stuff being separated out. So, like, are the monsters located in them? Okay, Nug and Yeb. Nug. Kind of a cute name for a eldritch horror. When playing with Nug and Yeb as Elder Ones, you can choose either one of them to be the main Elder One. Each one affects the game in a different way. According to the one you choose, set up the influence dashboard, Elder One cards, and minion card. Okay, so this, yeah, I think I remember this. So this one is almost like a 2-in-1 character. Which is a cool concept. Oh, so its track is all folded up. Stage cards, some kind of token, and loyal followers. So some of the this does not actually fit. Like, I don't know if you can see that, but it does not actually go down in there. And I think it's designed not to. I don't think it was designed with any intention of actually fitting. Because like the plastic actually hits this plastic hits this plastic. Okay. So here is this tentacly spiky monster, either Nug or Yeb. Lots of horns, lots of tentacles. Horns in front, tentacles in back. This is the mullet elder. This guy is more... He's got... His spikes are tentacles, I think. He's kind of a little cutie. One of the things about this game, I do not love how it is stored. Everything is like flimsy tuck boxes and then flimsy back form, and then the boxes are deep and it makes it hard to store the minis. I took everything out of back form on my core box, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult here, and it's going to be more difficult to tell these minis apart when looking at them from above, is the other thing. Like, this orientation is good, so I might just have to deal with it. Okay, so let's take a look at Horror in the Museum, Lost Episode 7. Horror in the Museum. Long ago, a mad curator brought hapless victims to his museum to sacrifice to the elder gods. He stored their souls in horrific wax sculptures. His plan was foiled, and the poor souls were freed. But now the cultists have discovered his techniques, and they are many where he was but one. Fortunately, you know the same techniques, and the best tables are those that are easily turned. Yeah, so you've got a couple of monsters in here that I guess are just specific only to this episode. You've got a Rantigoth. He's like a fly with a lot of tentacles. You've got a Nothke. That's also, that's another thing that makes it hard to really feel any particular way about these monsters, is it is impossible to remember what they are called. And I know that Lovecraft did that himself. But, so here's the layout of the museum, the occultists. Looks like we've got some, I don't know, are these the wax sculptures? Yeah. Color Out of Space, that's definitely one of his best stories. I really like that one. Dreams in the Witch House, of course, is another really good one. I'm not going to go through all these, but I'll read the description at least. The place was host to a visitor of some kind. It's still unsure what it was, or even if it can be described. All that's known is that the land is overgrown and the animals are no longer themselves, including the people. Yet the cults are here for their own sinister purposes. If I remember, the Color Out of Space like sucks the color out of the whole area, leaving everything gray. I've read the story a couple times. I don't remember it. So you've got color, you've got color tokens, fire tokens, you got the Color Out of Space, and then mutated animals. That's cool. Let's take a look at that. That sounds interesting. Oh, that's actually really nice. So here's the Color Out of Space. So you'd have to paint this some sort of crazy prismatic color, but then it's got these bodies. I won't be painting it, but I'm sure that would look amazing if somebody really talented did, which it's kind of show it here. Here are some rabbits fused together. This is like a, I don't know, a fox maybe? It's coming out of its own skin. This looks like something from the very Lovecraft-inspired John Carpenter's The Thing. I don't know how that goes in there. I should have paid better attention. These things are shaped crazy. Definitely should have paid attention. It's a squirrel. And I don't know what this is. Maybe some kind of rat pile? A mole pile? Groundhogs? Looks kind of like rodents. Okay, let's take a look at these investigators and call it a day. Okay, so we have Houdini, Amelie, we have a rifle, lever action rifle, Isadora, Dorothy, the little pistol in her handbag, Dolly. I like the historical figures. That's what finally got me. Like Frida, finally got like, and a couple of those sort of characters got me for the third Kickstarter. Taylor, Ryan, Saito with katana. Oops. Steve is like a football player, but with a big old knife. James with his hunting shotgun, double barrel. Agnes, oh man, look at those. That looks cool. I'm going to have fun with these. The characters aren't probably as distinct as some other mix and match games, but still, they're fun, and some of their powers really do make a big difference. Amir, Charles, Karen, Antonio, Eve, Tom, it's a little sawed-off shoddy, Michelle. There's really no substitute for good defense. Is she a teacher with a spanking paddle? Big game hunter. Anita. George, the chef, with his cleavers. So these two abilities are like common, like you'll find them on any number, but then they have a special one, and it does add some flavor. Craig, the butler, or maitre d'. I'm afraid we're only serving lead for dinner this evening. That's awesome. Martin. Robert. Looks like an old mobster. Let's just say my old skills are very much alive and leave it at that. Archie, a sailor. Dock worker. Don. Looks like a soldier from one of the world wars. Vanessa. Okay, so yeah, that's I thought from how it was stored that you've got some monsters on the bottom. These guys are kind of cool. I like that they've got weapons for the most part. Let's start with the one that doesn't. It looks like a little dinosaur dragon creature. He's kind of amazing. Another dinosaur, but like a humanoid. Spikes, no tentacle, one big old tail. You can kind of tell the station of these by how many tentacles they have. Like a beetle man. And with a really, I don't know what that kind of weapon is called, but it's like a spear, but it has a big curved blade on the end. Look at that. Yeah, that's really cool. Got 3 of those. And this looks like a Neanderthal or a caveman of some sort. Oh, we have more monsters. Okay. 3 armed. A displacer beast. Oh, here's Gub Gub or whatever he's called. Cute. So here's that old mobster. Here's the maitre d' or butler. You see, you get a lot of characters when you get these. Woman with the rifle and the guitar case. The chef with his chef's knife and meat cleaver. The disturbing teacher. Oh, she's drawing her little pistol from her handbag. I believe this is Houdini. Oh, here's that older woman with a sword and a dagger. All right, well, I hope that this was fun to see. I'm looking forward to trying out these new characters and new missions. I'm looking forward to trying to figure out how I want to store all this stuff. I don't know. I'm almost afraid to mess with this. But then look at this. Oh, what a nightmare. What a nightmare. Okay, sorry. I shouldn't keep going on about it because I know nobody else is nearly as interested in it as I am or bothered by it. Okay, so that was Cthulhu Death May Die, Fear of the Unknown, and The Unknowable Box. I'm Jalen Riker, wishing you a great rest of your day and reminding you to keep playing solo.